What made you start the podcast? How do you look for a spouse when you have kids and have been hurt? Tell the truth. We know Medina is great. Is your family Muslim? What inspired you to revert to Islam? We'd love to hear your story. So, is my family Muslim? No.
Unity in Scent from the house of Ahmed Al-Maghribi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to another episode of MUSLIMAH Talks. Today's guest is something a little different. It's actually someone you have all been asking for. Are you ready for the reveal? It is me. Number one tip, don't take yourself too seriously. Alhamdulillah. Today, I'm going to be answering all of your questions that I got you to send me through on my Instagram, Power of Voice Academy. Follow me if you're not following me already. And we're going to really unlock my life, my journey to Medina, why we're doing this podcast, and many, many things that we know we need to be talking about. So this is our conversation, and I'm going to be answering your questions as they came in. Should we do this? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Let's go. Okay, so I've got all of your questions on my phone, so I'm just going to read them off as they go. So the first question came in. Am I going to read out names? No, I won't read out names because I didn't ask your permission. But the first question that came in is, okay, what made you start the podcast? Perfect. Okay, so basically, if you know my background, I run the first public speaking academy in the world for Muslims, Power of Voice Academy. And I'm really passionate about advocating the real voices of Muslim women because I reverted to Islam in 2007 when I was just 19 years old, and I had a big career. I was on stages. I was working with huge hip-hop artists. Like, you can think of them from those times. I've been on stage with them. I've toured with them. My life was really in my dream career, and I was an extrovert, and I was the life and soul of every party. And then suddenly I became Muslim. Alhamdulillah, best decision of my life. But I didn't know how to bring that girl into the woman that I was becoming. I didn't know how to have a personality as a Muslim woman. And I didn't see any female representation. We didn't have social media like this, but I didn't really see any positive Muslim personalities. And that's why I'm really passionate about sharing it, because I did fall into abuse. I was in really, really abusive marriages. I actually went from one abusive marriage to another, and I didn't have a backbone. I feel like I was known as Miskina, and I lost that powerful personality that I have. And alhamdulillah, I have learnt, yes, we are modest as Muslim women. Yes, we love Islam and we make many changes because we put Allah first and we strive and we try our best, but we can have a personality. We have fun. And that is why I'm really passionate about doing this podcast. For me, MUSLIMAH Talks is about having unfiltered conversations with Muslim women as dawah, to show each other that yes, as I said, we are striving for sabilillah, but we have dreams and goals and aspirations, and just having those real conversations that make some of us feel like we're not alone. So that's why I started this podcast. And big shout out to Ahmed Perfumes, who I believe is on the screen. Yes, they are. Big shout out to Ahmed Perfumes for giving us this beautiful venue and getting behind this vision and making it possible. Okay, question number 2. Let me see. I'm literally reading them. How do you look for a spouse when you have kids and have been hurt? Oh dear. I'm quite a private personality. People don't believe me because obviously I have social media, I'm on Instagram, but generally speaking, with regards to relationships and stuff like that, I'm quite private. So let me try and answer this in the best way that I can. Pro tip, as you know, I'm a public speaking coach. You can share publicly, but there can be things you hold back. You do not owe anyone your life. Social media is not your diary, but I do want to be as real and raw as possible. So, okay, my first marriage was a love marriage, but he was like from the streets. He was half Algerian, but brought up in foster care, and there was just a lot there, and it was very abusive. And I don't want to go too much into detail, but it was 7 years of abuse and walking on eggshells, and subhanallah, he actually has left Islam. May Allah guide him, Allahuma Ameen. But I have 2 kids from him, and there was extreme hurt there. And I went from that into another marriage that I was just trying to just marry someone of deen, and subhanAllah, there was a lot of spiritual abuse, and that was a very dark period of my life. And alhamdulillah, Allahuma Barak, I have 2 kids from there. So there was a lot of hurt, and I was broken. I really lost every part of myself. And I swore I will never marry again. Never, ever. Never, never, never. But moving to Medina brought me back peace. And actually, one of my guests that I just interviewed, she spoke about don't trust anyone because she's obviously been hurt. And I was there. But I realized that when you trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us, He made the woman Hawa from the rib of Adam alayhi salam. Like, we are meant to have a spouse. So how do you look again? If you know you're ready, don't start before you're ready. Heal yourself. I had to work on myself so much. Even though I'm a communication expert, like how to communicate what I want before I get married. Make a list, right? Not a list that is so unattainable that you never find someone, but make a list. And if you can, go to Mecca. I went to Umrah and I made dua for this. So I would really say, even if you can't go to Umrah, you know, Allah, there are so many times that our du'as are answered after Jummah, in the last hour of, before Maghrib on Jummah, in the rain, when you're traveling, in the last third of the night, seek Allah and ask Him. And a beautiful friend of mine, Lauren Booth, I'm sure you don't mind me shouting you out, she said to me, Khalila, say to Allah, I have one love left. Make it with someone who is worth it. Pray. So how do you find love again or look for a spouse after her? If you know you need it, it's going to protect you from fitna, completes half your deen, go for it. But don't rush. Allah's timing is perfect and He knows what's best for you. Istikhara, dua. May Allah bless you with righteous spouses. Allahumma ameen. Okay. Woo! We're going so deep. What's number 3? Tell the truth. We know Medina is great, but what do you struggle with? You don't like the struggle. I feel like you like the pain. The power of the pain. Okay, Medina is a dream for me. Like, as I said, when I was in the UK, I didn't realize that I was really in I was still holding on to a lot of trauma. I didn't realize how much I was continually looking over my shoulder. I didn't feel safe after leaving that marriage, even though it was like 4 years I was in the UK. I wasn't living, I was surviving. And I poured myself into work. Like, honestly, when I first started Power Voice Academy and the business I had before that, which was called Homeschool Queens, I would say that I put a part of my escapism into healing myself, into building the businesses. A lot of businesses work really well because your why is built in hustle of pain. So alhamdulillah, you know, it is what it is. But when I came to Medina and I finally healed and I was able to really connect deeply with Allah and I found peace, I didn't want to hustle anymore. Like, I still wanted to work. I still wanted to do these kind of conversations, but not where it was like, that was my identity. What has been the struggle in Medina is having that balance of not completely switching off. Like, I just want to be mama, wife, Allahuma Barak. I just want to like go out and do trips with the kids and sit in Nabawi all day. So actually finding the discipline to work for me has been a lot harder. And I feel like it's something I have to push myself differently. I don't have the same network here of women that I have in the UK. I have a thriving network. There are constant events. And for me to do that, I have to fly back in, which I've done quite a few times, but it's not always attainable, especially when you've got kids. So I think the biggest struggle for me has been, you know, trying to keep the business up, which is my finances, which is everything like that, not losing everything I've worked so hard to build in trying to rebuild myself in the peace of Medina. Alhamdulillah. I mean, there are worse struggles we could have, right? I can't lie. It's definitely that. And also missing family, you know, that the sister I just spoke to now, she surprised me. She said she grew up here, yet she felt so lonely. And I think this is a place that you can feel isolated and you can feel lonely if you don't have a community. Alhamdulillah, we have a good homeschooling community, mashallah, but you can sometimes feel lonely and isolated, and it's really that tawakkul with Allah. But the community is building, more sisters are coming. Come move to Medina, let's build our own empire, inshallah. I'm sure you lot are going to ask me how to move to Medina. Okay, is your family Muslim? Good question. There's actually a lot of questions. There was another one that came in, I saw. Let me get them both together. What inspired you to revert to Islam? We'd love to hear your story. So, is my family Muslim? No. 2 of them are now, alhamdulillah, they reverted after me, and I'll get into that in a minute. But no, I was not brought up Muslim. I was brought up with no religion at all. Christmas, Halloween, all these festivals. No idea about Islam. I remember when I was 12 years old and my grandfather died, and he was the closest person to me. I didn't have the closest relationship with my mom and dad growing up. It got better when I had my own children, but growing up, it wasn't very great. And my grandfather was the closest person to me. And when he passed away, I remember my mom saying, he just turns to dust. That's it, like a black hole. And that's when my entire world fell apart. I was like, well, what's the point? I didn't care anymore. I dropped out of school at 14 years old. I went to professional drama, acting school. I dropped out of absolutely everything. I stopped everything I loved, and I got really lost. I ended up with really bad crowds, really young, and having no religion, it gave me no purpose. In short, this is how I reverted to Islam. I fell into the hip hop industry. I found a passion in the music. I found escapism. I found freedom. I found my voice through expressing through lyrical poetry, and I happened to be pretty good. Allah changes a person, but I was good, and I really got recognized as a female in the time where there wasn't a lot of conscious rap, and I was getting up with really, really big celebrities. And before I knew it, I was just on the verge of signing a multi-million-dollar record label deal, which was huge at that time. I mean, it was worth so much then. And it was my dreams. It was everything. I've been working long nights in the studio my whole life. And I really started to see that even though I was 17, 18 years old at the time, these huge celebrities who had every single thing of the dunya that you could dream of, cars, money, women, fame, everything, looks, whatever, they were miserable. And I remember going back to stage, celebrity after celebrity, on the stage, happy. It was a front. I remember going backstage and they're drowning themselves in drugs and alcohol. And I just remember seeing an emptiness in their eyes. And it was the same emptiness I felt when my mom told me my grandfather was turning to dust. And I thought, no, there has to be more to life than this. There has to be, like, even just the creation of the eyeball. There is so much behind it. There has to be a creator. And I really went on a soul searching journey. And at 18 years old, my best friend at the time converted to Islam. Shout out to Jay. She converted to Islam. And that was the last religion I ever thought of. I looked into Christianity. I looked into everything. Islam seemed too extreme. It couldn't be for me. I'm a party girl. Everything is based on looks. That these women are oppressed, right? But no. When I actually started looking into Islam, it took me a year. My friend would tell me, I lived with her at the time in Balham, Alhamdulillah, southwest London. Time and time again, she would tell me hadith and Quran. I was like, no. I was fighting it. I was fighting my nafs. Because my nafs, my heart, believed straight away. But I was, no, I will never wear hijab. No, And it took me a year to really finally say, I want to submit. I actually had a dream. I had a dream where Allah made it really, really clear that if you trust in Him alone, there is nothing else that you need. And I said my shahada straight away. 2007, I was 19 years old. And alhamdulillah, it's been 18 years. My 14-year-old sister at the time, who's actually called Medina, she took the name Medina. We didn't know it meant city much. She became Muslim a month after me. And my father, who, we didn't have the best relationship. When I was a teenager, I was very rebellious. It was probably not easy to manage me at all. Sorry, mom and dad. But he was an amazing grandfather to my kids. And he passed away just over 2.5 years ago now. And I was making dua, and just before he died, alhamdulillah, he said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. And he literally died so peacefully. And I just prayed to reunite with him in Jannah. So that is my story. I have 2 Muslim family members making dua for my mom. She visited me in Medina. You can see the reels. SubhanAllah, they got like 4 million views. And my best doing reels, you can see that she came and saw me and the kids in Medina and how she felt. But she said she felt peace, which is incredible. May Allah guide her. I mean, that is my journey to Islam, and my life is just forever. May Allah keep us firmly upon His deen. I mean, okay. How did you move to Medina? Okay, second most popular question. Tawakkal Allah. My best friend, Anisa Kassoon, you're going to see her episode on this podcast very soon. Amazing woman, inspiration. She moved by herself with her children, single mama, to Medina. And I came and I stayed with her for a month. And it was 2024, I think it was 2023. And we came and we stayed with her for a month. And I fell in love. I felt peace. Like I said, I'd been in absolute, almost a state of trauma in the UK. I wasn't living, like I said. And when coming here, just being at Nabawi, nothing matters. I feel like it's my spiritual plug into Allah. And I felt myself again. I saw my children change their personalities. It wasn't safe. My son, who's 15 now, at the time he was 13, he got a knife pulled out to him where I lived in Wembley, northwest London. And I was just like, I can't raise my kid. He couldn't go to the masjid. It wasn't safe. Here, my 5-year-old could technically go to the masjid if she wanted to. Like, it's so safe, alhamdulillah. And I was like, this is where I want to be. Umrah. You see them Umrah du'as? They're like a dart. Don't play with Umrah du'as, subhanAllah. I made du'a to Allah to allow us to live here. And I went home, and it was literally a few days that passed, and Anisa called me. She said, the house opposite me has become available. And I worked it out. And I was like, you know what? I just got rid of my stuff. I literally got a skip. I gave to charity what wasn't charitable. I put in a skip, or I gave to friends. I was like, I don't care about possessions. I don't care about stability. I just want to raise my children when we are free. And we just moved, and it's been 18 months, and it's been a dream, and I can see the difference. My kids study Quran at Nabawi. Allahuma Barak. Like, if I'm sad, I can go to Quba and pray 2 rakahs, and it's like Umrah. I can get in a car for 4 hours or jump on a train for 2 hours and be at Umrah. Like, if you can get here, just do it. Let go of these fears of like university and having a property, and this is the place to be. I really, really believe it. There's no place better in the world. Alhamdulillah. So what's next? Let's see. I'm going to take a couple more questions. Okay. I'm going to take the 3 questions about public speaking and put them together. I waffle a lot. How do I get to the point? Best public speaking tips. I have a story I want to tell, but where do I start? I have so much to say. Okay. Public speaking is the most feared thing in the entire world. It's not spiders. It's not the dark. People are so afraid of speaking, but what does it do? Potentially lands you in front of millions. Like this conversation I'm having right now, at a click of a button, it has a worldwide audience at my fingertips, right? So if you're in business, if you're someone who has a message, if you're someone who has a passion, a dream, something to share, speaking it is the greatest tool that you own. Your voice is the greatest tool that you own. So knowing to communicate well is so important. That's how I got into wanting to start the first public speaking academy in the world for Muslims, because I saw how knowing how to speak, especially on stage, that's my thing, but you can do it on social media, you can do it in coaching calls. I really understood how quickly it can get you clients, get you paid, get you exposure, get your message, make impact. So I really, really advise in definitely training. If you want to hit me up, Power Voice Academy. If you waffle a lot, how to get to the point, know your message. Speaking quickly, concisely, powerfully, quickly, concisely, powerfully is much more important. Waffling, oh my God, no one wants to listen. Get to the point. How do you do that? You clarify your message, work on your message, and make sure, when I teach TEDx, we think of something as a through line. If you think of a hook on one end to the other, your message needs to be able to be the same that goes throughout. Make it as short as possible, condense it into a way to explain it to dummies and make it clear and quick. I have a story I want to tell, but where do I start? I have so much to say. Your story doesn't have to have everything. It needs to be a V. Okay, I'm going to keep this short and quick. You want to make sure that your story, which is the base of every speaking career, you want to make sure that your story goes from one end of a journey into a struggle. People relate to the struggle, right? And comes back out the other end to where you are today, which is story selling, where you get to share what it is that you do, right? You do not need to share everything. Only your mum wants to hear the first word that you shared and every single thing. You want to make sure that you pinpoint parts of your journey that take you to where you are today. Power Voice Academy, hit me up and they'll get you a lot more details. Top tip, speak even if you're scared. Pass the microphone to your heart. People remember how you make them feel, not what you say. So make people feel, have feeling. Those are my top tips on speaking. Hardest days, what do they look like? Differences between UK and Medina. Hardest days, alhamdulillah, Allahuma Barak, I don't suffer with depression, but there are days I don't want to get out of bed. It's rare, but it definitely happens. Definitely a week before ladies' times, that happens to a lot of us. I have to remember that I don't hate myself or my job or my life. It's just hormones. But honestly, for me, being in Medina, I will just take myself to Quba or Nabawi and sit with Allah. You know, sometimes people hurt you. I think that's one of the hardest tests. I'm a people's pleaser, recovering people's pleaser, and people disappoint you. And I think it's just remembering that Islam is perfect, the people are not. When I first reverted to Islam, I literally thought I was going to be with one of my Sahaba, we're going to be best friends, we're going to help each other. That doesn't even happen in Medina. You know, everybody is out for themselves. We're in trying times, we're in the middle of a war. But I know the Prophet Muhammad was optimistic. So I think it's the lens you choose to see with, and just push yourself to get up, be active, eat well, drink water. You know, sometimes we get sad because we're dehydrated. Like, look into things and surround yourself with positive people. That's my best tips. What was the other question? The final question, the final countdown. Difference between UK and Medina. Oh my gosh, Medina is a Muslim country, the UK is not. UK has my family. Medina has my Muslim Iman family. My kids are free here. Oh no, I don't want to get emotional. I don't think I could have ever dreamed that I would be in Medina. I don't think I could have ever dreamed. Like, I waited 17 years because I was in abusive marriages. I didn't have money. I didn't have finances. Like, I got to the point where I would come down the stairs and I wouldn't even find porridge to feed my children breakfast. Like, I was so broke and broken inside, and I was dealing with my kids not having their dads around, and the aftermath of abuse sometimes is harder than being in it, because when you're in abuse, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, it's like I was in a fuzz. I lived in a fuzz. If you've been through abuse, you understand what I mean. But I didn't know my favorite color anymore. I didn't know my brain wasn't functioning, and that's how I survived, because I didn't think about anything. I didn't process anything. I was just getting up for my kids. And suddenly, I didn't ever think I would hear the adhan. Like, I used to be like, will I ever hear the adhan? So life in Medina, you know, don't give up praying. Someone like me, who came from a non-Muslim life, party animal, then becomes Muslim, then is in such extreme abuse, then has no money, then alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows me to start a business that by his mercy and blessings afforded me the ability to move my 4 children here and start again. It's a dream. You know, we can have our dreams. And again, you know, MUSLIMAH talks, Muslim women can have dreams. This was my dream. I'm living it. Allahuma Barak. Allah is merciful. Ask him by his beautiful names. May he bring you happiness in this life. That is going to benefit you in the akhirah. Allahumma ameen. But yeah, the difference between Medina and UK is I feel like I'm alive. Alhamdulillah. I'm going to end it by asking myself these questions. Where are they? They're here. I did well, guys. I didn't cry ugly tears. I'm going to end it by asking the questions at random, 1 or 2 or 3, depending on the time. But what have we got? Okay, we're going on the other side. I just needed to check because I don't want to ask myself the same questions as the last guest. Okay, random. What pain do you enjoy having? I don't know. What pain do I enjoy having? My kids? Love my kids. They're definitely a pain. What is the greatest wealth in your life? Islam. Alhamdulillah. Risk is in so many ways that are not just money. And I think Medina's taught me that you can get risk sustenance in so many different things, in friendships. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give you gifts. One of the greatest things I learned from my friend Anisa Kassoon is ask Allah by his name, Al-Wahhab, and ask him for gifts. And the gifts you get are just incredible. I was wondering what you believe happiness is and how it can be achieved. That's going to be the same answer, guys. Have real and raw conversations. Don't hold back. Allah has given us MUSLIMAH talks. Big shout out to Ahmed Perfumes in Medina. incredibly inspiring women guests. I have trained over 10,000 women in the world to speak. I've been on Forbes. I work with TEDx. Like, these things are happiness because they're du'as to Allah. You know, if you do have goals in your life, yes, Muslim women can work. If you do have goals in your life that are like business-wise, right? Make sure that they are grounded in deen. There are so many opportunities that I get that I'm like, that doesn't go with what I believe is pleasing to Allah, and I give it up, and Allah replaces it with better. So giving up that multi-million-dollar record company deal, which was my dream, Allah replaced it with TEDx, where I got to put Muslims having needed conversations on a platform which has over 4 billion viewers. Give up for Allah and He will replace with better. True happiness, was that the question? Look, I've just waffled now. You asked me how not to waffle. I'm waffling, but it's good waffle. Happiness can be achieved when you trust in Allah. On your hard days, on your good days. Okay, I hope that's been good. I've answered your questions. There were a lot more, but maybe we'll do a round 2 if you like this conversation. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps our channel to grow and to, if you're, a brother, get behind advocating for Muslim women. Get behind pushing out our voices. If you're a sister, I need to hear from you. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you want to hear, what guests you want to hear. It's been a good one. May Allah bless you. Can't wait for you to see the next episode on MUSLIMAH Talks. Again, a big shout out to our sponsor, Ahmed Perfumes, who not only supply us with incredible smells, but they also have gotten behind needed conversations that we need to have. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.